Hello YouTube, Bungie just released the weekly newsletter, and in that newsletter is some future patch notes. There are some important things about sniper rifles and whatnot. I think the important takeaway is that potentially rapid fire snipers like the Twilight Oath will not be able to double body. I'm going to keep this really concise and just focus on the important things, starting with Lord of Wolves. The Release the Wolves perk now significantly reduces the weapon's accuracy while active. So what this will ultimately do, this is normal. This is Release the Wolves. This weapon used to have a very high skill ceiling where even if you were like this far out, but if you could land all headshots, you would get a really fast time to kill. But nowadays, this sort of has a cap where you have to be within 14 meters to do effective damage. And as long as the accuracy makes it easier or more difficult to control than that, and it looks something like this, then you have to basically be on top of somebody in order to use Release the Wolves. And that might be a really good change. It might make it a more unique identity, sort of like Cerberus. This is a auto rifle with 4 barrels. You can see 4 individual shots, random spread. But when you activate it in focus fire, it actually tightens the spread but significantly reduces the damage. So you have to be on top of them to do pocket shotgun like damage, but if you're far away, it's not very consistent and that floor is different. So I like to think of Lord of Wolves in the future sort of like how, let's say, trace rifles are the special weapon variants of auto rifles, that Lord of Wolves is the special weapon variant of Cerberus. So moving on. We have the last word. A lot of changes here. And before anybody gets mad and types in the comment section without reading, let's look at everything. Big picture here. So Fanfire, that's the perk whenever you land hipfire shots, now adjust precision scalar when hip firing. The impact values have been adjusted. Precision goes from close to 68 to slightly over 68. And when you aim down sights, it's going to hit 52 to the head. So it really doesn't want you to aim down sights. Now, body shot damage goes from 50 to 38 no matter if you're aiming down sights or not. And again, Fanfire could boost that damage. We don't know yet. Aiming down sights no longer provides additional range. Reduced stability for mouse and keyboard input. That's a big one. Reduced effective range. And adjusted the way target acquisition is handled when hip firing. So this could actually be a buff to at least the console way of feeling, while also keeping the mouse and keyboard in line. So off the rip right now, I'm going to just shoot a wall and you'll see what I'm talking about. This is mouse and keyboard stability. While that looks like a lot, it's really not hard to control. You get that grouping by just holding it down slightly, and that's not even that great of a grouping. I'm hoping to get a similar grouping. It requires this level of mouse control. If that's the case, this is actually going to turn into a skill cannon because you're going to be doing that from the hip. The last word has like a different way that hip... Do you see how like close that bends to his face? It definitely has a different function when aiming from the hip compared to other hand cannons. So you guys think this weapon's going to die, but it's still going to be used by, I know it's crazy, by skilled individuals instead of just anybody who can throw the weapon on. I think this is potentially a good change, and they might even have to buff it in the future, but I hope they do so in small increments. Now, shotguns. Target acquisition for non-slug shotties has been adjusted to no longer account for precision locations. Cone angle is now adjusted on a per archetype basis and is no longer adjusted by the range stat. So this could mean a lot of different things. Also, aiming down sights no longer adjust effective range for the weapon archetype. What I'm led to believe from this is that the range, aim assist, or whatever might be pulling bullets towards the head. And now per archetype, that might be different. That value might be different and that cone size might be different. So there's going to be a shakeup with shotties. Right now, Mindbenders is the king because it's the most consistent across almost any situation you encounter. And although Retold Tale has a slightly better one-hit kill distance, this could explain some inconsistency with it. So maybe the meta is going to be now full choke and as much handling as you could get on a gun, but because you could get quick draw, what's the point of even going handling to begin with? So you're just going to throw it all in range anyway, which I hope will still affect damage drop off. You see how that says immune? Maybe increasing that range stat will make it do those kind of numbers instead, so that I can do the shot, switch sort of cleanup. So I'm ready. I've been ready for this change forever. I also just today got this god bone structure. Take one of the O's out. This has quick draw, opening shot, assault mag to boost the rate of fire, range, and range. And it said in the patch notes, let's read real quick. Non-slug shotties. So that leads me to believe that I still might be getting some extra benefit here. I know it's capped on the range drop-off, but maybe it goes beyond the cap on aim assist. It's a hard thing to prove, but I think you could have a case there. Moving on, fusion rifles. Similar issue to shotguns, seeing as the aim assist probably drags you off target or maybe bends the bolts to the face or something. The key thing here is that backup plan was nerfed. That was a perk that was previously on Destiny 1's Plan C. It's an exotic tier perk, and it's just been on fusion rifles in Destiny 2. And this wasn't as much of a problem when fusions were bound to the power slot, but now since you can always have them because of special weapons, it's really, really, really crazy. So backup plan now adjust impact to match the rapid fire archetype while active. What does this look like? Well, let's see. I'm going to throw on a fusion rifle right now, jump off the map, and you're going to see what backup plan is in its current state. Then I'll show you what a rapid fire backup plan looks like and if that is going to stack in the future. So Aaron tool. Do I really have to say more? I'm going to show you the biggest benefit of backup plan though, so I'm going to reset this. So let's say this gold box is the target, and I'm going to shoot a little to the left of Lord Revan here. I want you to pay attention to how the bolts will bend towards him, even though I'm aiming somewhere over here. You're going to see them go towards the gold block, most likely, or the patch right there. So backup plan's reset. I'm going to shoot 2 shots at rapid fire. And we're going to do it again with this. For the record, I never really thought fusion rifles were too crazy because good players usually navigate cover and bait shots. And if you're honestly playing a skilled player, they're just going to use a sniper rifle and make you have a really unfun time. So this is the charge rate of this one. I'm hoping that this is the same and that Aaron's Hill is significantly nerfed, because this might be another option for fusion rifle users. So same thing. Now you get to go back to this video to compare. Auto rifles got some tweaks. Oh, wait. Another important thing to mention is the fall off now has changed the floor. So let me go show you this. On Aaron Tool. That's a huge thing I almost glossed over just for sake of time. I don't even know if I can hit the floor. You mind running all the way to the other side? Yep, that will do it. Look at how little damage that this is going to do to him. 37. So what that essentially means is that since that 37 hits now, it's probably going to be a different number in the future. It might be like 25. I can't do the math off the top of my head. I wish they would maybe give us number examples in the future. Okay, now moving on to auto rifles. High impact frame. It's going to hit 35 to the head, previously 33. Precision frame. 27, 25. Notice that the body shots aren't going up too much. Adaptive frame. 25, 22. This one actually does get a body shot buff. So adaptives like hard light might be pretty cool. And then rapid fire, both go up. So I have in my inventory right now some weapons that you might need to look out for. You go ahead and throw hard light on, and then, oh, I do have a little bit of ammo for both. Okay, so first thing, this is a half-dan. I know this kicks like an absolute monster on controller, but I play M&K half the time. So what I would switch out is quick draw for tap the trigger. But this is the role I use. Max range, quick draw for effectively maxing out the handling, and kill clip to get some extra goodness after a kill, attack mag for the reload, and so forth. This thing, believe it or not, has the same drop off as a max range Redrix's broadsword. So that's why I've started using this more than Redrix. And if you're telling me this is going to hit even harder, might be good. So next thing to look at is hard light. This is a special kind of auto rifle because it doesn't really have drop off. Do you mind running all the way to the other end of the map? So I'm going to throw a 450 on to show you that it has drop off. There we go. There's drop off. And then hard light, no matter what, it will never drop off. Pay attention to this hip fire reticle. Look at how that circle blooms outward. So if you're trying to get those max range kills, you have to be on point after that amount of time. And that is the skill to using hard light. We might see a lot more of this in the future. It's really, really hard to control by comparison to a 450. So that's how it balances off not having any range drop off. You can be skilled enough to do it, and you can even use perks that improve weapon stability. So, for example, let me go kill myself so I can activate that. So I'm going to shoot him in the face to proc the Gunslinger's Trance, and we're going to pay attention to this circle. Let me get up close so I guarantee I hit the head. Actually aiming at his health bar there. So if you can get in a habit of... You can absolutely map people if your recoil control is perfect. And that's why I think that this might, in the future, be a sleeper weapon that rises up the meta. The only negative is against the popular hand cannons, it really, really gets flinched. It's really hard to hit a time to kill because if they shoot you once, you're looking like up and to the left of them. So maybe invest in some unflinching, even though I don't really think it does much. This is a rapid fire auto rifle. I think it's perk for perk perfection for what I want it to do. These got a buff too. And then 450s, I pretty much deleted every single one I've ever came across. You know, hashtag Tiger Spike God roll every week from the Dreaming City. But this is the Halloween event, Braytech Werewolf, the stock roll. And I think it's more than adequate. I'll bust this out in the 450 changes, and maybe I'll do some activities to get a better 450 if the need arises. But I think out of every auto rifle I own, Suros Regime is going to be the go-to. Halfdan is going to be my ranged go-to. And for medium distance, I will be using the Gnawing Hunger. Where is it? Actually, Galliard's pretty good too. But unlike Gnawing Hunger, you can't really farm for Galliard consistently. You get Galliard from the Forge activity, from the Black Armory Forges, and it drops at the end sometimes. Gnawing Hunger can get things like Tap the Trigger and Multi-Kill Clip. I actually just did a commentary on this gun, and it's already good now, and to think that it's getting buffed on the ease of use makes it even more tempting to go for. Not to mention, you can probably farm it while going for spare rations. Chat, double check that I'm correct on that. Galliard can get high caliber rounds, which is why I think that I want a Galliard ultimately. Okay, so chat confirms you can. You can go for, speaking of, I'm going to talk about spare here in a second. You can go for spare rations while you go for the Gnawing Hunger. So, now let's talk about what is not on the patch notes. We don't know if there's more. I mean, we know there's more. We don't know what that more is. And I want to make sure that this is on Bungie's radar since I maybe have the platform to do so. First thing I see already in the comment section from somebody who did not watch the video is going to be, oh my god, they didn't touch 140 hand cannons. 150s are so easy to use. And here's the reason why spare rations is used so much. It's the only 150. They get a lightweight bonus, high intrinsic handling, and high intrinsic aim assist. The range aspect isn't too much of an issue anymore because range is sort of hard capped. So stand here, 68, 67. And I'm not even sure this will kill him. 47. If I switch to a 140, psych, if I switch to a 110, that's 66 compared to its usual 91. And I do have a 140 here, but this one has explosive payload, so it's a little harder to see exactly what's happening here. That's the reason that I use explosive payload on 140s. Oh, I did have an old-fashioned. Never mind. So now I can show you the difference. Let's do 61 here, and this will probably hit a little bit harder. 61. Okay, so up close, this is going to hit 68. And old-fashioned is going to hit 70. That's the difference between a 140 and a 150. I will say the perks that an old-fashioned can get and the stat package that an Austringer can get make them better than 150s. But then again, a lot of people like the lightweight, inherent handling, and high aim assist, so they sort of even out. I still think the playing field could be more leveled though, and this is what I'm getting at, and this is why I said don't comment before you watch the video. I think it could be leveled out by giving 140s a bit more range on that hard drop-off cap. So that already looks good. What if they got pushed out to right here? And that was the difference between, this is the difference between a 150 and a 140. And then you do that again, where this is now the difference between a 140 and I would even say more, a 110. Like that should be a 2-tap with Rampage, let's say. That distance right there. That would be incredible. So that's maybe what I want to see with at least weapons. Another thing I put in my inventory specifically was the 450 pulse rifle. This is an incredible roll. It has moving targets so that once you hit that 10 mobility, it'll push your strafe even past 10 mobility. It'll take it even further. Like, the thing about this archetype is it doesn't do anything too incredibly because I think that the rapid fires might have gotten slightly overbuffed. Rapid fires being Lincoln Green and so forth. With that being a consistent kill compared to doing the same thing but slower, it's almost not worth using the lightweights, even with kill clip, because when you use a Horror's Least or something with kill clip, you could straight 2-burst most resiliences. And then when you consider the high impacts like the Eredrix and whatnot only having to land 2 bursts consistently, and even, I guess, having ease of use with the Desperado or damage boosters, or you can even consider the Blast Furnace archetype, the aggressives, the 450s don't really have much going for them, and I want something to be going for them here, or for rapid fires to get a slight, very, very, very slight nerf where certain resiliences can tank the 3-tap and the kill clip 2-tap. I think if that happens, pulse rifles will have more of an edge. And maybe even again, same thing I said for hand cannons, start letting them edge out the range on the other archetypes. Because as it stands, scout rifles are pretty uncontested. So if you choose any scout rifle, you can go way, like maybe even twice the distance of pulse rifles instead of just a quarter the distance. And I think that's where scouts might feel more at home. Because if you think about it, I'm going to grab one of these out of collections. The Dream, perfect. What's kind of crazy about these is these have the same advantages as a hand cannon. They're both 150 RPM. And that has more range than a pulse. You work cover. So something needs to be given to these 450s. I think if all that's hit, we might be in a golden age of weapon balance. But unfortunately, the game isn't just weapons. We have to talk about abilities. Some of the abilities that really, really aggravate me are any of the wall hacks. So this is Spectral Blades. This is Foe Tracer. This is Sanguine Alchemy on the Warlock. One-Eye Mask on the Titan. I think in a Trials-like environment, that's going to be so aggravating for players. Another thing is Exotic Armor for the Warlock. The Controverse Hold. Right here. You charge up a handheld Supernova and you get damage resistance. I think a cool change for that, and let me switch to Gunslinger to illustrate. No, I'm already on it. Would be to make it so that it's an all or nothing type attack. So I can't start to charge this up and then abandon it. Once I hit the melee button, it's gonna throw. If Controverse was like that, that might be enough on its own. But I just want it to be on the radar. I'll let the devs handle how they want to actually fix it. I just think it's a problem because when you use Last Word plus a sniper rifle plus Controverse Hold and you're decent with all three, it can be a loadout where there is no weakness in terms of range and a good player can choke out the enemy team. Notice I didn't say a god, just a good player. That's about the relative level of balance I think it's at. I think the last thing I want to cover is the Revoker before we get a mode like Trials of Osiris. The Revoker is a kinetic sniper rifle obtained from the competitive playlist, and if you miss, it refunds a shot to the magazine after a short duration. So you can sit in the back of the map with no penalty whatsoever. I use this because, to me, what it means is if I use my radar and I'm thinking a player is in a certain place, normally with the snipe I have to slide around, put the crosshair on them, and pull the trigger. With Revoker, I don't have to check to see if I actually see somebody. I just pull the trigger. So my reaction speed looks like that as opposed to my normal sniper rifle. And the reason that you're willing to take shots like that with Revoker is because you don't lose the bullet. But if I took the time on a good opponent to actually aim on them, there's a good chance I die. With Revoker, like I said, you just slide out, whip, and go past. So what I'd like to see with Revoker is maybe that perk be completely changed, or, unpopular opinion here, maybe Revoker be moved to the power slot so that you could start having some unique combos. So you could go like this. You could have a, let's say, old-fashioned retold tale and a Revoker at the same time. And maybe this could lead to another archetype of weapons where you get shotguns, fusions, and snipers in the power slot, where the special thing about them is once I pick up ammo, let me get something with multiple shots here. Once I pick up ammo and Galaxy kills me, that it doesn't drop a power brick on the floor. That might be a balancing on its own. And to a good player, having a sniper and a shotgun available, or a sniper and a fusion, or a shotgun and a fusion available at all times is maybe worth the same as one rocket. I think that'd be a really cool change, and even more cool if we start seeing some rewards in Trials of Osiris catered towards that kind of playstyle. Maybe Revoker could be the first of its kind, if for some reason that perk cannot be balanced. I don't know, just thinking out loud here on stream. Go ahead and cut the video here. There's my short thoughts on that stuff, as well as some things to start grinding for and looking out for the future. Someone in chat asked, Mindbender or Retold Tale? We won't know until we have the patch notes in our hand. We're going to have to manually test everything with rifled barrel and without it at all the distances. Here, since I am on stream, I can show you this. Let me see. For shotgun, because no, I'm not going to test those, so. Toil and Trouble, they're pretty, so. I forget exactly where it is, but this is a video of me testing all the different ranges of shotties, so I do have this on demand if I ever needed this again to compare. Oh, fuck, you hit him too. That's the best shoddy in the game that he's using right there. That's a last man standing, so an aggressive frame shoddy with opening shot, 1-2 punch, so that if you land all the pellets, you can melee a super. full choke to tighten the spread, range masterwork, and accurize rounds. And he will consistently 10-meter kill somebody with that shotgun. And so I'm very curious to see after the shotgun changes if the aggressive frame can be dethroned. So on that note, let's end this video. Thank you guys for watching. I am live on stream right now.